Um, Hi everyone. This is our presentation, which is intercollegiate, sorry, intercollegiate sports, which is opportunities on the social ladder. This presentation is by Gavin, Yolanda, and me, Montserrat. So by the end of this presentation, we'll be able to inform you and help you better understand two things, which are how the great sports myth ties into social mobility and how socialization in college sports also creates both opportunities and barriers for athletes. Okay, the dream of college sports, is it a ticket to success? Um, so okay, we're gonna start off with the common belief that many people hold about college sports. So the idea is that if you play college sports, you'll gain social prestige, make valuable connections, and have better career prospects after graduation. This belief is what this belief is rooted to be called, sorry, this belief is rooted in what's called the great sports myth, which was also included in the lecture, well, which was mentioned in past lectures in this class. And the idea of the great sports myth would be that sports are inherently good and fair, and participating leads to success. A big part of this myth would be the rage to riches story. So, it's something a lot of young athletes believe, which is again for the personal anecdote would be again, um, sports is their ticket to a better life. And sometimes because of this dream, many athletes focus so much on their sport that academics take a backseat. So athletes will just primarily focus on their skills in sports, how to like get better at the sport, how to just improve as an athlete, but not as a student in their academics. In many cases, many people see sports as, I mean, many athletes, mostly athletes, tend to see sports as their only real chance to quote unquote make it in life. But does this belief hold up in reality? And that's what we wanted to explore. Like, is this a ticket to success? Or is this just, I'm not sure, it's just the way it's viewed. So that's what we wanted to explore more of. And beyond this is beyond the glory. And what did we already know? So before we started our research, we knew a thing or two about the Colgate's athletics, sorry. Um, on the positive side, college sports help athletes develop many skills like teamwork, to build up relationships, teamwork, and leadership skills, and also a strong sense of social identity. But on the other hand, we were also aware that there was many not strong, but serious controversies, which were that athletes would often face academic pressures, inequities in funding, and limited opportunities, especially for minority athletes and women, well, especially for minorities and minority athletes, and women. So this kind of raised a bigger question for us, which would be, does playing sport, does playing college sport truly help all athletes equally? And and/or do these inequalities we see in society get repeated and even enforced within college sports? This one is excuse me, sorry. And they're called Gate Sport and Socialization, which is the issues and the findings we found. So we decided to look deeper into four key areas. For the first one, we looked at how team subcultures affect athletes' academic performance. For example, we used the Benson study in 1997, which showed that the attitudes and values within the team, whether they prioritize academics or not, it can make a big difference. So for the second one, we looked at what happens when athletes leave sports, which is a huge life-changing thing to them. And for our article that we found, it was the Clemson University thesis, which showed that athletes who had a strong personal support system, like mentor, friends, or family or coaches, they had better mental health and wellness when they transitioned out of their sport. And then for the third one, we studied how playing college sports can boost jobs prospects. And the article that we looked at was a 2024 report by Gustavs Athletics, which in this article it found that athletes often gain valuable skills like leadership and I believe time management I mentioned, and it can also network with potential employers. And then finally, we looked at how athletes' economic background affects their access to sport in the first place. And for this one, the article that we used was a 2023 article by Amber Turnhoff, which it showed more about how kids from a wealthier background are more likely to play sports and have a better long-term outcome because of it, because they have so many opportunities, so many open doors for them because they come from a wealthy background. And then some key findings. So what did we find? The first one would be team subculture is huge, really huge in sports, in college sports. Um, so if athletes are surrounded by teammates and coaches who encourage academics, they're most likely to succeed in the classroom. And then a second finding that we found was that when athletes leave college sports, having uh them having a strong support system, again, like friends, family, mentors, coaches, or even career services, um, helps them more with it helps overall with their wellness, their mental well-being. Third finding we found would be participating in college sports does help with employment opportunities. Many employers see athletes as team players, disciplined, and even hardworking. But that, we can't ignore the fact of economic background, which was our fourth and last key finding. Again, like I mentioned in the last slide, kids from wealthier background often have more resources and access to opportunities, many doors open for them, while those from lower income backgrounds face so many barriers. They have so much on their plate, like they don't have as much opportunities as wealthier background families or wealthier background athletes do. And that's what makes it harder for the low income background athletes to benefit from college sports in the same way as the wealthy families do. So while all these sports in college can offer social mobility, it's not always an equal playing field. And I know that no matter what they do or no matter what they try, it's never gonna be an equal playing field because of the different circum circumstances athletes go through. And then from here, this is our next slide. Excuse me. The connecting the dots. So research insights and implications. So now to connect to the bigger picture, our research supported earlier studies. Again, for example, Benson's research confirmed how team culture impacts academics once again. And the Clemson article thesis emphasized the importance of relationships and mentorship when athletes leave competitive sports for their well-being. These would lead us to the two big takeaways, which would be first, that economic inequality is a major issue. Again, like I once said in the last two slides and the one before this, college colleges and universities need to provide better funding, better scholarships, more resources than they already do to level out the playing field to give all the athletes a fair chance. And then the second big takeaway, which would be social and academic inequality needs attention too. Schools should focus on, um, universities and colleges should focus on creating positive team cultures that also not only value sports, but academics and just academic mentorship programs can also make sure that athletes have have that support system they need to succeed, no matter like their background or their circumstances they have. And then, um, which again, this is what I mentioned, the implications from understanding inequality. This is from sources and class lectures, which again, like I mentioned before, the implication, which would be economic inequality, and implication number two would be social and academic inequality. I mentioned all this in the next slide. So just in conclusion, college sports can be a powerful tool for social mobility, but only if schools and athletic programs work to address these inequalities, which is just to help out athletes more. And these are our works cited, our four different works cited. And that's gonna be it for for the presentation. Thank you for your time.